Yo, guys. So we now finally have the list of what are going to be the legendary stone subs when you use the new special way of powering up stones. So I'm just going to be going down what they are, which ones are good, which ones are bad, and which ones are broken. And yes, there are some pretty damn broken ones in the list. Of course, I'll be putting the link of this in the description below if you want to check it yourself. So let's get started. An Ardor, increased damage and move in the same position with you by 10%. Now, I don't know if this is confirmed, but some people were saying since the value is different, they might actually stack with the actual EMB. Since it's not the same value, it's technically not the same line buff. I will need someone to test this out, but if it is the case, we might be able to have actually more damage increase after these nerfs. So that could be pretty cool. But again, this needs to be tested. So Blazing Essence, increased critical rate by 60% with penetration or steal. This isn't a shot, but it's not bad. It's not great either. Increased attack power by 65% when being attacked or when attacking with a critical hit. Not bad either. Depending what you're running, this could be pretty cool. More on attackers though. Add 12% bonus to the action bar at start. Really shouldn't be using this. Increase the max life by 20%, the chance of co-op by 10. For center mids, for example, Felix, Metatron, this is actually very powerful because this increases co-op and increases their survival. So this is actually a really good sub. Increased penetration resistance. Well, I mean, I don't even need to explain to you guys that this is one of the top two special subs. And of course, you know that the other one's going to be El Rapayon, since it's going to give healing to people who can't heal. So this is already very, very powerful. Especially if you're using something like a Presti, this is going to be boosting it even more. Increase attack power by 2% for every 5% lost life. Again, this is very conditional. You need to know exactly what you're doing for this to be good, but it could be decent. More midliners or backliners. Decrease the damage or incoming damage from penetration or steals. That's actually very good again. I don't know exactly where you would use it. I'm more going to be guessing again in midline, but 40% DR from any form of attack is very strong. The only thing is they need to attack. It doesn't apply when you attack, but still pretty damn good too. So yeah, this is one of the nice ones. Now, protection of other arm decrease incoming damage 18%. You shouldn't be using this. There are some much better ones for goalkeepers. Recover the action bar by 25% of an attack. This is more for backliners, especially those that are able to absorb spirits or those that have some form of stacking ability. I'm thinking of stuff like Miho, the usual gig. Pass effect increased by 30%. This is very good again for people who have unique pass stones in front line. For example, good old Balteon, you could give him this to increase by a lot his pass effect. So this is nice. I know some people actually re-rolled him for Praise Sentence, so they're actually going to be going for a different unique pass stone sub. Decrease incoming damage by 15%, increase attack power by 20% for each target with an attack. So it's like a little dumbed down version of Earthcry. Not bad either. Increase critical rate by 12% lie within the vertical line. Again, we need to test, but I think those actually stack with the original stones. It's not the same value. Increase critical rate by 30%, penetration by 15% with an attack. Now, this is honestly really good. I've looked at the other ones. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the best one for strikers, just because critical rate 30% and penetration 15% are two stats that you're desperately going to be looking at, unless you're running Damien or some very special version of a striker, but this is very good. So this is going to be one of the best subs. I have the Storm again. We don't know if it stacks if it doesn't use it. Wind control, increased damage dealt to goalkeepers. This is actually going to be the best PvE sub I've seen up to date. There's also 50% critical damage somewhere, so it's close to it. It depends exactly what your critical damage value by base is, but it has a lot of potential too. Increased critical damage by 12% within the position. Fine. Increase critical rate by 15%, critical damage by 15. Don't use this. Increase penetration power by 25. Well, I mean, you can use that if you don't want critical rate. Increase defense by 25 and recover of life by 10% when being attacked. Well, it's a goalkeeper thing. So again, another form of self-healing, but increasing defense. Now they've changed how defense works since it doesn't increase co-op. Even for a goalkeeper, when you have El Rapayon, it's just a better deal. Increase the action speed by 10%, attack power by 20 when you're not holding the ball. For Steelers, could be good. It's more a backliner stone. Recover spirit by 35% for critical hit. Again, backliners, increase critical resistance when being attacked. certain goalkeepers and crit res builds, but I still wouldn't advise it just because there's so many better subs. But I'm sure we're going to be seeing this one a lot in certain crit res lines. Increased damage at enemy on the vertical line, you see by 10. Again, it's not the same value. This might not stack with the other one. Stack, so could be good. Light. Increased reflex of allies within position 10 was the same rule. Does it stack or not? Increase max life by 20 and critical resistance by 15. Just don't. Increase critical rate by 30 and recover action bar with an attack. That's actually not that bad, but there's just 30% and 10, and that's just better. Increase max life by 20, attack bar by 20. That's not really worth it. The other subs are once again much better. Increase critical damage by 50% with an attack. That could be interesting, but again, you really got to check what your striker is and what situation. This would really be more for PvE. Recover the action bar by 20% with a pass. Now this is cancerous as fuck because I know exactly how you're going to be able to use this. This is what you use when you want to go in PvP and you want to make those infinity fronts using an ignition catalyst center mid forward passer, and like this they never actually move. This is going to make that worse, but if we're not talking about that, pretty low value though. Just saying. Maybe Gibril though. Gibril could have value, but then again, Gibril should already have Bond of Silence. El Rapayon, recover 10% first when being attacked and reduce damage by 12%. Now I know a lot of people have, for example, Jhin, and spending Dimension Stones to reroll him is a pain in the butt. So this will finally give him a form of self-heal while only running Wyrmwind Stones. So for certain really old players like him, like Kay, but Kay now has a better unique stone, El Rapayon who's liked, you know what I mean? For those kind of old goalkeepers who didn't have healing in their kit, you can add it through El Rapayon. And to start with, it does give you 12% DR. It was pretty good for a sub compared to the other ones we've seen. The only better thing, of course, is going to be penetration resistance, but you gotta dream in life. Judgment Radiance, increase the attack power by 25, decrease incoming damage by 15 when holding the ball. This is pretty good for center mids. Outside of that, I wouldn't really advise it. And again, it's not a top one. Dark, unique. So there's some really good ones, some really bad ones here from what I saw. Recover the action bar and spirit by 20% of an attack. Now this is actually great for a spirit generator. So once again, it's always the story of a backliner for this. Fontes Tissue Cell, increase attack power by 15, counter attack resistance by 10. No, this is too low. This is really not worth it. If you're an attacker and you already got an FTS equipped, you're already at a max value. If you're not, well, you shouldn't be trying to get 10%. It's just bad. Recover 20% of life of the inflicted damage with a critical hit, and recover 10% of life first. Yeah, if this is going to be broken because this is the only reason I used Encompassing Soul, so I can now switch this and throw it on something much more powerful. For example, I could throw this on the Judgment of Radiance who got buffed. I could throw this on SOB. There's just a lot of value right there. Battalion, increase the attack power by 60%, decrease incoming by 10 when being attacked. Yeah, 10 is just so low, it's not worth it, especially when being attacked. There's just so much better subs. Not worth it. Prestige Clockwork, increase critical damage resistance by 35%. Now this is honestly pretty decent. Depends how exactly you're running your goalkeeper. Again, there's penetration resistance who is going to take priority, but if you have enough pen res, I don't know who does, you could go for this. Evolve Addiction, decrease critical resistance by 15% of aiming from the vertical line. Again, we got to check if it stacks or not. Residue of Madness, increase critical rate with an attack for 25% for each target. Now, this is actually interesting because depending on what point of the game you are, you might be able to get more. For certain utility strikers who scale up their crit rate, it basically means that if you're in a 1v1, you don't have as much crit, but if you're not in 1v1, you're getting 50% from a sub. If not, it's a 1v1. It should usually be an easy kill. Ampule from Korra, I can't pronounce this. Increase critical rates by 10% of the line. So overall, there are some pretty decent ones. There are some pretty bad ones. The ones that are really notable are going to be, for example, El Rapayon, just because it's good. Dragon's Bone, just because it's going to be able to give you some penetration and some critical rate to a pretty damn good value. We're going to have in the order Dense Magma, penetration resistance. Again, look down at your team and see what you want, but these are some of the best subs you're going to get. Later on, I'm going to try to do a video with me making a stone. I got to test if we can force the subs by having 4 of them, except I only have free versions of SOB. SOB isn't really the best stone, so yeah, that sub's not worth it to me. So I'll see exactly what I can do for you guys, and stay tuned for some more videos. Have a good day.